My name is Delana Scotfrey. I am 31 years old from Phoenix, Arizona, and this is my story. First, I want to thank everybody who took the time, whether I tagged you or someone else tagged you, or you saw this on my page, on your timeline. I just appreciate you for taking the time out to watch this, because I know that time is one of the most precious gifts that we have, along with love, and something definitely not to be wasted. And so by watching this, I'm extremely indebted and grateful for you for taking the time out. I'm not sure if what I have to say is going to directly or indirectly relate to you personally as you watch it, but I know that there are millions of people around this country who are affected, whether directly or indirectly, by this. And so if maybe my story helps either shed some light or helps give somebody else a little bit of hope, and knowing that if you just keep fighting, that things can be different. This has probably been the most humbling thing that I've ever done in my life. A lot of you I've already spoken to personally over the phone or in person. And so this has just been a humbling experience. It probably would have been easier for me to take my clothes off and do my best Chip and Dale impersonation. But I guess the best place to start is here in present day and work my way backwards. As it stands now, I am on house arrest. September 22nd, I am scheduled to either start trial, where if I am convicted, then I would face upwards of 10 years in prison, or I can sign a plea bargain to go to prison for 3.5 years. The first thing that most people have to say is, what did you do? On December 26th, I was arrested for aggravated DUI. In the state of Arizona, by definition, what makes a DUI aggravated is anytime you commit another crime while driving under the influence. The crime that I committed while intoxicated and behind the wheel was that my license was suspended for unpaid fines. The average person in this situation, this is actually my second DUI. I'm not trying to glorify it, but unfortunately, January 8, 2008, I got my first DUI. The average person, though, in the same situation, if this being their second DUI and the second DUI being aggravated, would be given an offer of about 4 months in jail or prison with the opportunity to go into the work furlough program. Some people would say that 9 months on house arrest for a DUI in which no one was hurt. There wasn't an accident, thank God. They say 9 months of house arrest is already punishment enough, because there are people, and I'm not trying to relate my case to, or my situation to any other case, especially when you see all of the nonsense going on in the media nowadays. But it just doesn't seem right that I can be punished in excess of 10 times for what the average person would be sentenced to in the exact same situation. The only difference in the circumstances is how the state categorizes me. My friends and family would say that I am a believer, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a brother, a friend, I'm a confidant, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a visionary, I am a volunteer, I am a lot of things, I'm an activist. But there's only one word that the state chooses to classify me as, and that is as an ex-con. That's it, nothing more. 14 years ago, when I was 17, I was actually sent off to prison. When it was all said and done, I was sentenced to 6 years and 6 months, of which I served 6 years and 8 months, almost 110% of what the state had asked me to serve for my crime in order to be rehabilitated and properly punished. I served the 6 years and 8 months, and since then, since July 30th, 2007, when I was released, the only issues that I've ever had with respect to the law would be civil traffic issues and my DUI, of course. And so I'm saying that meritoriously, I'm asking to be treated equally or fairly. The average person getting 4 months and me getting more than 10 times that, I think, is not warranted based on something that I did 14 years ago. I was convicted of 2 counts of armed robbery at the age of 17. And so because of that, saying that me serving, paying my debt in full to society, almost 110% of it, and having done all of the things I've been able to accomplish in the last 7 years. I've worked for Fortune 100, Fortune 500 corporations. I've owned a couple of different businesses. I've volunteered for many different organizations. I've spoken before church organizations and the Boys and Girls Club. I've facilitated mastermind groups. I've been able to partake in different organizations and projects all over the world in the last 7 years. And so nothing about the way that I live my life now is even remotely close to how I used to live when I was a teenager. And it's indicative of that because so many people that I've spoken to already are appalled and shocked when they find out that I've been to prison, because in no way, shape, or form have I ever carried myself as somebody who was a convict. Most people would consider me to be college educated. But that's not the case. I've just managed to distance and separate myself from that lifestyle, and I've done everything and taken every measure possible over the last 7 years to do that, and I don't think that it's fair in the name of equality that the only time justice is blind is when the scales are tilted in the prosecution's favor, because what I've done the last 7 years and how I live my life just is not helping me. Their first plea offer was 2.25 years, and when I respectfully declined that offer, they upped it to 3.5 years and told me take it or go to trial. And I just think that those kind of bullying tactics are, quite frankly, the reason why it's a prison industrial complex and why people have the feeling of the system that they do, why 85% of people reoffend within 3 years, because the reality of it is that I had a job opportunity on the 8th with a large corporation, and they rescinded the offer because of this. Most decent apartment communities will not even touch me with the background because I'm free, drug-free. Most renters will not rent to me because of my background. But it's not an issue where I'm still continuing to do this, but it's a system and a society in which we live, which black marks people and says that we are not capable of forgiveness, that you cannot be forgiven, and that if you ever make a mistake, even at the age of 17, that you are forever condemned and will be held for that. And I just think that if I paid my debt to society in full, I served 100+% of the sentence imposed upon me in prison, and I have not had any issues of reoffense since. How long is too long to say that you can still use what I did in the past against me? And so this is why I make this video, in hopes to gather up some more support from those of you I haven't had an opportunity to speak with. I'm not looking for donations or money. Ultimately, what I'm looking to have you do is just write a letter on my behalf, and to say some things about yourself. If you have some titles or credentials, definitely use those. Edify yourself. Speak on the nature of our relationship, how you know me, and how you feel about the situation. I'm not asking you to embellish. I'm not asking you to go above and beyond. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. In fact, what most people have done, what I've asked them to do, is just put it in the body of an email. About as long as it will have taken you to watch this video, you could do it on your phone and just put together a few words so that I can go in there and show these folks that I have the support of the community of people around the world, and that the real detriment is not that I am a menace to society, but the fact that you want to send someone to prison and treat me as if I did something demonstrative and still continue to hold this as a black mark against me when I've done everything to the contrary, to show that I am an asset and a contributor to my community. And so I ask that you put something together for me. Unfortunately, I apologize for the short notice, but I need it by tomorrow. I need it by Sunday night. I have a hearing, a closed-door hearing, where it's going to be myself and my attorney, a judge, and the actual prosecutor, not a stand-in, who will be prosecuting my case. And I get a chance to stand before them as a man and let them look and see that I am not just a statistic. I am not just an ex-con, but I am a contributor. I am a staple in my community, and I have the support from people all over the world. And so your letters already, those of you that have been able to send them to me, mean a lot. And those of you that have said that you do it, consider this your reminder. And those of you that are hearing about this for the first time, anything that you could put on paper to show your support would definitely be appreciated. Or like I said, in an email, and just include a little bit of information about yourself again, and some contact information as well, and send it to me. I'll include my email address on this video, so that you know where to send it. And I thank you guys again for the support. It's been demoralizing, because to be treated the way that I've been treated by the state, it brings up all of the memories of what I've worked so hard and striven so hard for to do away with. I've used my testimony to speak to youth all over the place, to show them that you can that just because you made a mistake in the past, you can overcome it. But unfortunately, the state wants to condemn us, and there isn't a period of time by which you can actually say that you've been rehabilitated. If that's the case, then my background of what I did when I was a kid, 17, 14 years ago, would not have any bearing in what I'm doing today, because the two are not even relatable offenses. Again, I'm not trying to shy away from my punishment. I'm not trying to shun responsibility. I'm merely asking that I be treated equally and fairly based on what I've done, my track record. And so your letters and your support will certainly help in that. I'm going to go in here on Monday morning, and I'm going to fight for my life and fight for my son's life. Ironically enough, me and two of my best friends, Sherman Lester and Royce Hamilton, are building a nonprofit organization, Fit for Freedom, fitforfreedom.org, where we are ultimately trying to not only destigmatize the perception of ex-cons, but work with these guys pre-release so that they are prepared for all of the obstacles and the challenges that they're going to face when they get out, and to help enact and change and create new legislation so that at some point in time, we should be able to, as a society, get over and forgive those who have paid their debt to society and show them that they will strive to be the most productive assets in their society. I mean, it shouldn't be here 7 years later that jobs can still research my background and find out what I did 14 years ago and use that against me, when my resume and my references and the credibility that I bring from my previous experiences shows that I'd be a great candidate. But the fact that I work and have an honest job and I pay taxes and I raise a kid should allow me the opportunity to live wherever I want to live, not just places who have low enough standards to not allow ex-cons. At what point in time? Is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Is it 5 years? It should not just be cut and dry. It shouldn't just be based on archaic, draconian sentencing guidelines which have been in place for years, but there should be some exceptions. I'm not asking for leniency or to be treated differently than the average person would be treated. I don't want to be treated as a celebrity. I'm not asking for a slap on the wrist. I know that I need help, and I know that I deserve to be punished for my crime. But if my 9 months of house arrest is not enough, I'll take the 4 months the average person gets. I'll take 6 months. I'll take 9. I will take up to a year. That's what I've said all along. So as long as I have the opportunity to go on work furlough and to still be able to provide for my son, who I am the primary caregiver for. And so again, I thank you guys for taking the time. Your letters of support mean so much. If you haven't sent a letter, again, I would greatly appreciate you doing so. Send it to the email below, Delon@Scoffrey, my full name, @gmail.com. Thank you guys for taking the time again to watch this. Thank you so much for your support, and I will keep you all posted. Until then, Uhuru Sasa.